it's possible to upload your slides. If you go into your profile, this is Corey's profile, if you go into your profile, you can see your sessions down here. And clicking on there, if you're the presenter, you get a customize button, which will allow you to add an image or write down some information here, or upload a PDF or a PowerPoint. So presenters, please upload your slides, and then other people can come and look at your slides later. Thank you. That's the end of today's announcements. And it is now my great pleasure and privilege to introduce today's plenary, Akio Furukawa. Akio started an ER-based English teaching program in 2001, and he has over 2,000 students from grade 7 to grade 12. He's published several books on extensive reading in Japanese, including Enjoying Studying English by Using Elementary School Children's Textbooks. He created the YL, the Yomiyasusa Level, which is a system that everyone in Japan knows for grading, finding the level books. And within your conference bag, there is a list of many, many published books here on their level and word counts. SEG has 18 classrooms with nearly 20,000 graded readers in each classroom. Akio knows every book, and he is the real book whisperer. So let me hand over to him.
HDMI, okay? Okay. Do you want this mic or this mic?
This mic.
Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Akio Furukawa, founder of SEG and co-founder of SSS, Extensive Reading Study Group, and the author of this type of book blog, and the editor of book list for extensive reading. Today, I'm going to talk about these 6 topics. I'm a math teacher, but I also teach English through extensive reading. As soon as I entered university, I started my career as a math teacher at the Juku. When I was at graduate school in 1981, I founded my own Juku SEG, Scientific Education Group, to teach math and science to junior and senior high school students. They come to SEG after school and during school holidays. Now about 3,000 students study math at SEG and 2,000 English. I majored in math, I majored computer algebra at graduate school, and so I was interested in teaching math with a computer algebra system. And I was invited to teachers teaching with technology meeting in Ohio in 1995. It was sponsored by Texas Instruments, and 6 Japanese math teachers were invited. And the teachers from abroad were asked to give short speeches in English. The Japanese teacher all gave speeches and were followed by a Swedish teacher. He said, "Please rest assured, I will speak in 100% comprehensible English." He was so rude that we all got angry. But I must admit, our speeches, including mine, were indeed terrible. As I was the CEO of my own Juku, I decided that we had to improve our English program so that none of our graduates would experience such humiliation. I studied a lot of methods of teaching English for 5 years, like graded direct method, self-access peer learning method, and total physical response, and so on. But I was not interested in those of them. And finally, I came to the conclusion that reading a lot of easy books might benefit Japanese students, because Japanese are very shy and they don't want to speak eagerly, but they can read books at anywhere, anytime. I met Mr. Kunihide Sakai and started extensive reading by myself. I started with very easy books and read 1 million words in 3 months. In 2001, and Mr. Sakai and I found the SSS Extensive Reading Study Group and advocate for the Start with Simple Stories methods under the slogan, just read 1 million words. We are sometimes called 1 million words extensive reading. We created the Yomiyasu level and SSS system, and SEG started teaching English through ER in 2002. In 2001, we made a very short-term experience classes. In 2002, we started 本格的にね widely. In 2001, I also met Dr. Stephen Krashen and asked him if he thought I-1 input was useful for learners. But there was no I-1 concept in his original theory, but he said yes. And I felt reassured that the SSS method would be successful. I also met Dr. Beniko Mason and went to observe a class at her uni. Her lesson was excellent, but it was not an linear class. At that time, as far as I know, only Mr. Sakai's uni class and those at SEG were taught entirely through extensive reading. I observed, helped his class for a year. Mr. Sakai and I both support comprehensive input hypothesis and start with simple stories method. However, we have different opinions on student-to-student interaction, explicit teaching, and intensive reading. Contrary to Mr. Sakai, I think 3 to 5 might also benefit the students in addition to ER. Our program is based on all of the above. This is an explanation for our ER English program. We teach 7th graders, 12th graders. For 7th graders to 10th graders, we spent 80 minutes on extensive reading and 80 minutes on oral communication. 50 lessons in a year. And the average number of students in the class is 12. Grade 7. There are photos of in the classroom. Grade 7 students are cute, still cute. And grade 8, left is ER, right is OC. Grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, even in grade 12, they continue reading. First, we will show two examples of students reading. One is student A. She has no experience in learning. She has no English experience at his elementary school. So she asked her mother that she gave she asked her mother to give permission to go to English Juku. She found SEG, and she said, yeah, reading is great. And she joined our ER class when she was at the end of the grade 6. And she started reading from this level. This is very easy. All floppy. No floppy. All floppy. Floppy to them. It's only 10 words. And she reached 2 years later, she reached this. She was reading this kind of books. This was Pearson Active Readers, no starter, yeah. But after reading 1 million words, she starts to read Magic Tree House. Yeah. And at the end of grade 9, she started to read Maid Stage series. This is 10 volumes series. She finished them all. So she said, after reading this series, extensive reading is become her hobby. Before then, yeah, it was to study English, but after that, it was to enjoy herself. And in the middle of grade 10, she was reading House of Night series. Yeah. This is a young adult novel. And she continued reading, and she read 9 million words when she left our school and passed the entrance examination for University of Tokyo. Yes, she liked reading Fourth series, and she finished it after she entered the university. The next student is, the next student is a boy student. He went to ordinary public school. So, and he also had no experience in English at elementary school. So he was an average or struggling student in his middle school. Yeah, but he also started from this level, and at the end of grade 8, he was reading Foundation Village Library. It's very sad. It's out of print. Yeah. And then she began. He was reading this kind of books in grade 7, and at the end of grade 9, at the end of middle school, he started to reach Oxford Dominos or Oxford Dominos. Yeah. it takes 3 years to read 500,000 words. And it's the average of our average student or struggling student. And after she passed the entrance examination of high school, and after he likes reading mysteries in Japanese, and he was reading A to Z ですね。A to Z series in the middle of grade 11. いや、なんか抜けてるな。grade 9, grade 10ね。grade 10では he's reading これからドラゴン。Yeah, he was reading Dragon Masters. Yeah, this is very popular among our students. In the middle of grade 11, he was still reading at this level, but at the end of grade 11, he was reading Arthur Christie novel in graded readers after he read 1 million words. But after that, he was reading original Agatha Christie novel, and at the end of 12th graders, he was reading, where the character sings. But even an average or struggling student can reach at this level after 6 years of extensive reading. I think it's enough if a student can read this kind of books before entering university. It's enough, I think. Yeah. We have 3 levels of classes, and the number of advanced class is increased year after year. But from grade 11 to grade 12, there are a lot of students who left our program to study physics and chemistry. So the total number goes down. Our lesson descriptions are follows. For 7th graders, we spent 40 minutes to assign the reading. They read the same book at the same time, and 25 minutes on individual guided reading. And we also spent 80 minutes on oral communication and grammar teaching. We use the individual guided reading method. In our method, teachers observe how students are reading in class and track how students feel about what they read by reading the reading log notebook. And choose books suitable for each student. So we don't use pre-planted reading. In our oral communication classes, especially for grade 7 and 8, teaching proficiency through reading and storytelling is the primary method. TPRS was developed by by a high school Spanish teacher. It is also based on comprehensive input hypothesis. For grade 8th grader to 10th graders, we spent 65 minutes on individual guided reading. And for 11th graders, we spent 75 minutes on individual guided reading. And for 12th graders, we spend 60 minutes on individual free volunteer reading. Yeah, they can read freely because they know the English level become high and they can choose the books by their own. Our oral communication full-time teachers are 15, but we have only 5 EL full-time teachers. That's because almost no teachers, there are almost no teachers who have experience teaching English through extensive reading. So we have to raise our, it's very difficult to hire extensive reading teachers. The number of classes are growing. There are 170 classes this year, but the average number of students is, well, almost the same. The number of students is more are the followings. We need a lot of books, and now we have about 600,000 books, and we purchase 10,000 books a year. Last year, we spent $124,000 on buying books, but it's only 2% of our total income. I think every English program spent 2 to 5% on purchasing books. It's not too difficult. Our principle for extensive reading start with simple stories. Most students start a very beginning level. Teachers choose books for each student. And our rules for extensive reading is don't translate English into Japanese. Read at 80 to 90% level of understanding. Get the unknown words instead of consulting a dictionary. If students are not bound to consult a dictionary, but if they need to use a dictionary too often, they should level down. They should down the level. And for the management, read for an hour in every lesson. Read for at least an hour as homework every week, if possible. Some students read more than 3 hours a week as homework, but some students read nothing. If he or she doesn't read homework, then he or she read them in next class. I heard that in Korea, なんだっけ? KRSA teacher said, なんだっけ? 1 hour a day and 7 days. Yeah, and 1,000 hours for reading in 3 years. Yeah, it's difficult. I think, it's ideal, but if students read only 2 hours a week, it's very effective. It takes time. It takes maybe 4 years or 5 years, but it is enough to reach this level. How much, this is the data, how much our students rate. まあですね。The average at the end of ninth grade is 500,000. The average at the end of 12th grade is 120 million. まあ this is the actual, well, actual, it is the fact. If we limited the students who did ER for more than 3 years, the average number is become a little high. So 1 million words in 4 years is a good goal. It is not impossible. It is not impossible to read 1 million words for high school students, but it is almost impossible for middle school students to read 1 million words in 3 years. Some schools set a goal to read 1 million words in 1 million words for middle grade for to middle school students, but it's not. No, it's too high. The 1/2 million is enough. This is a correlation between TOEFL score and total amount of words students read. The correlation is not high. The correlation between listening and word count is relatively high because in the listening section, the English is relatively easy compared with reading section. So the correlation with word count is strong. On the other hand, the weak correlation between structure and word count suggests explicit grammar learning might be necessary to get a high score on a TOEFL test or possibly a universal entrance examination. Our students go through 3 stages. Stage 1 is from the beginning to reach the level of Oxford Bookworms Level. It takes only a few weeks for very good high school students, but it sometimes takes 3 years for a struggling middle school students. And stage 2 is advancing while 2 to while 4. And stage 3 is advancing while 4 to while 7. Yeah, here is an example. Advanced class students who learned English at least 2 years or more start from while Oxford reading 2, but in 6 months they reach this level. And 10 months later, most of them can read this level. But 7th graders who has no experience in elementary school, or almost no experience in elementary school, takes 1 year to read all 9. But the foundation level 1. Oh, 15 minutes, okay. Yeah, let's hurry. There are a lot of good book series for stage 1. Yeah, lot. The important thing, what is most important is do not raise the level too fast. Have students read I-1, I+1 simultaneously or alternatively. For beginners, we recommend the following ratio. I-1 to I+1 equals 3 to 2 to 1. Yeah, it's very important to read easy books as possible. But for advanced learners, we recommend the one for one. Yeah. And basic level gradually is also important. And sometimes students read too high level books. In this case, they are struggling to read. In this case, teachers need to advise the student to lower the reading level. To lower the student's level is sometimes very necessary. Yeah. To raise up very slowly, it is required a wide variety of books. So graded readers are great, but the number of graded readers is not sufficient for our program. So we need books for children and young adults. The YL system makes it possible to level for both GR and authentic books. YLs for major GR are following. Each YL is determined by the difficulty of grammar and vocabulary and the total length of each book. YLs for major books are follows. If you want to determine a YL by yourself, then read a few paragraphs in the book and decide if the difficulty is close to the books which you have already read. If you or your students feel the difficulty of books is between book A with YL X and book B with YL Y, then you can set the YL of the new book as X is nearly book A, Y if it is nearly book B. In between, or you can decide the average of X and Y. And especially for beginners, it's very important to read at high level of comprehension. My hypothesis is the growth of English proficiency is proportional to reading volume times level of force power of level of comprehension. Force power of level of comprehension implies reading 10,000 words at 50% FC is equivalent to 600 words at 100% SC. Reading 10,000 words at 80% LC is equivalent to 4,000 words at 100% LC. So we recommend you that your students should read at 80% LC. Yeah, and in order to be able to read a book with a high level of comprehension, reading the same book 2 or 3 times, for example, listening, shadowing, and reading aloud, or reading silently is recommended. And raise the level slowly and carefully. In stage 2, we use these books. Yeah. Graphics novels for children is very useful for stage 2 learners. Japanese manga is also very popular among stage 2 students. Yeah, important points for stage 2 students is stop listening to the audio. Choose I-1, I+1 books. Raise the level very carefully. And if the teacher thinks the time is ready, then we ask the student to try challenge the chocolate factory to challenge the students. If he can read this book, he has confidence and to go further. And stage 3, we use these books. There are a lot of books which are appropriate. Important point is must choose young adult novels which are written for high school students, like this, and choose books related to students' desired major in university. If they want to study physics, Stephen Hawking books are appropriate. If they want to be a doctor, CRISPR 9 is good for them. If they want to go to law school, justice is very popular among who want to go to law schools. The 3 benefits of ER is students can improve their English skills at their own pace through ER. And students acquire diverse knowledge through reading. Reading books develops students' empathy, which is one of the most important skills required by modern society. Reading is not only to learn English. Reading is for enrich their lives. This is a conclusion. It usually takes 2 or 3 years to reach Wild 2 with no prior English experience. However, our experience shows after reaching Wild 2, students can reach Wild 4 or higher within a relatively short period of time. So it is very important not to hasten students to reach Wild 2. They might need 4 years, they might need 5 years, but waiting patiently will pay off. And the last one. Even math teacher who could not speak English well, and even now, I'm not good at speaking English, as you hear, can be the best teacher, can be the best year teacher probably in the world after reading a lot of easy books. All of you are already good at teaching English, and all of you are already good at speaking English. So if you read a lot of easy books for your students, you can be a great ER teacher. Enjoy reading for your own pleasure and your students. Thank you for listening.
That's great. Perfect.
Thank you very much, Akio. We have about 4 minutes. If anyone has a question or two, we can probably take one or two questions before we